Hi everybody, welcome to my second video update. I'm trying something new. I'm getting a little closer to you because I just need to be close to you. So I wanted to first of all thank you so much for all your generous contributions to this book campaign. I just can't believe it. It's the coolest thing in the world, and yet I can so believe it because it's so right. It feels so right, and especially at this time in my life. So we're at about, let's see, I think day 29 out of a 50-day campaign. So it's close to the halfway point. But what's really cool about it is that we've gotten really close to the halfway point. I think we're at about $3,200 now with a goal of $10,000. So I'm getting really confident that it's going to happen. And I want to say thank you, especially for all of the referrals. I mean, just spreading the word. I think that's what it's really going to take out there, to make sure that everybody gets to have some cool tools to move forward in their life. So this week I wanted to talk briefly about relationships and communication. It just tends to be the thing that we all really either struggle with or just feel amazing from. When relationships go well, we are on cloud 9. And when they're not going so well, it really kind of sets us back. It almost paralyzes us to a certain degree. And one of the things that I've really been thinking about is that we tend to struggle in relationships when we're not feeling heard, we're not feeling validated about what we're moving through, or we're just not being acknowledged in particular ways. And what that tends to do for us is, I think it, of course it pulls us back. Most of the time it pulls us back into our shell. And then, we lick our wounds a bit and we pout a little bit. And I think what's most devastating is that we can become resentful towards that person for not giving us the things we feel like we need from them. And the roughest part about that is that we give our power away. We need somebody else's validation or words to make us feel as though we're enough. And once we've done that, our focus is on that person rather than on who we are and what we're capable of and what makes us great people. So I'm going to ask each of you to think about somebody that you've been struggling with lately. We all have somebody that we struggle with in life. They're there for us. It's almost as though they've come into our lives to give us an opportunity to move through something we've been longing to overcome. So embrace the experience and embrace the person. There's lots of really cool things we can do inside of this. First thing is, let's ask ourselves what it is that we're feeling when we're around that person or what we're not getting. Sometimes we feel like if we're around our parents, they're treating us as though we're still a little kid and not really respecting the choices that we're making while we're fighting to be who we are and we're 40 or 50 years old. So think about the feelings that it conjures up. And the reason that I ask you to look at those feelings, number one, is it's important for you to validate your own feelings. But it's also important for you to recognize how those feelings begin to affect who you are. Because it's interesting, there are times we can be this amazing 40-year-old or 30-year-old, and then all of a sudden we get triggered by something, and the 10-year-old walks in the room. And we start pouting and whining and complaining, and we need stuff. We need people to make us feel better, and she's not being nice. So one of the things that this allows you to look at is who you become as a result of your pain or your hurt or those feelings. Once you can do that, then you can get an idea of, wow, what giving your power away looks like. So I want you to stop for a moment and think about what it is that you could really use from that person. In other words, you know what, Mom, what I really wished I could have heard you say was this. Ask yourself what it is that you would have preferred to have seen or heard. So maybe it's an associate at work, and there's just something's not jibing and there's not a connection happening. Think about what it is that you need from that person and ask for it. Asking for what you need is the most innocent, powerful experience in the world. If we don't ask for things, what we tend to do is complain about what we're not getting. And now that's our new focus, and that's who we are as a complainer. But if we can take a couple of minutes and think about what it is that we could really use from that person, or what we'd like our relationship to look like, what we'd like the experience to look like, then it gives us our power back, and it gives us a new outlook, so that we can then manifest that experience. So sometimes it's just as easy as saying, hey, next time we have a phone conversation, can we talk about something a little more positive? Or today's not really feeling like the day I want to talk about that conversation. Can we talk about what we're doing that makes us happy? Really taking responsibility for the kind of conversations and relationships that you'd like to have. So that right there gives you your power back. Now, of course, the other person, it kind of makes them scratch their head a little bit, and it makes them replay what the conversation has looked like. Sometimes people respond really cool, and they're like, yeah, you're right. I don't really like the way this conversation looks either. I don't hang up the phone feeling fabulous. Yeah, what do you want to talk about? So it gives everybody a new opportunity to change the relationship, change the conversation, and it's very empowering. It's important for all of us to kind of stop and ask ourselves if what we're doing right now is working for us, if our relationships are working for us. And it takes you out of the victim role and really puts you into a beautiful, empowering role where you actually are now respected by the other person as well. So just a couple of tidbits for you today in terms of relationships. I love and appreciate every single one of you, and thank you for making my dreams come true. And I'll sign off for now. See you next week. Bye.